get older, usually approximately 90% of males, when they reach 50 or 60, they're going to develop enlarged prostate. Okay? Some of them is benign, some of them become cancerous, but it's benign, it's not too bad. And you can imagine that if the prostate will get too big, it can actually occlude the urethra, for example, and then the male will have problem urine voiding, for example, right? You can check for the enlarged prostate by doing digit examination. So you just don your glove, push it up here. I think it's rather enlarged.
That's a man's dream.
No. All right. That's the urethra. The urethra will continue on, right? So then you have a short part of the urethra that goes to this region right here. This is known as the membranous region, also known as the urogenital membrane. So we call this part of the prostate as this part of the urethra as membranous urethra, okay, which is this. And then the urethra go out, and how this part of the urethra is surrounded by the two, there are three erectile tissue. This one erectile tissue right here is known as the corpus spongiosum. And then there's two of them that is up above. This is known as the corpus cavernosum. But together there's two of them. It's known as the corpora cavernosa. All right, so if you do, so you can see here, okay? So then you can see how this is the urethra, right? The urethra comes out, urethra, and you can see how this right here is surrounded by this. This is the corpus spongiosum, and then you have this one here is known as the corpora cavernosum, corpora cavernosa, or corpus cavernosum. Now, this thing will have, basically will pool with blood. As this pool of blood is going to become erect, right? So then men can have an erection. So an erection is very important because then it allows him to deposit, or the penis here, deposit into the female vagina, because that's how he can able to deposit his sperm. If he has erectile dysfunction, called ED, as like Bob Dole did, right? You can take Viagra, but you can say that the flexed penis trying to penetrate, not going to work very well. Okay, you can do a penile implant, you can shot themselves with some fluid, but it's very painful. So thank God for Cialis. All right, so if I do a cross sections of the penis, it will look something like this. Right, like a guy smiling. All right, so where this is your corpus cavernosum, or together there's two of them, it's known as corpora cavernosa. While this one, this is the deep artery. Okay, this is a blood vessel. Deep artery, one of them. And this is the urethra. So you can see as blood comes up in here, right, it could basically pull this with blood, you know, particularly the parasympathetic nervous system, which causes the blood vessel to dilate, for example, right? And then the blood vessel, this area will be full with blood, and that's how this thing will get enlarged, if you will. Engorged with blood. But if this one get enlarged, it can actually compresses the urethra, right? So to prevent that, the urethra from being collapsed, you have to have a buffering system that resists that, not a buffering system, but a ways to counter that, right? And so this thing right here, the surrounding area here is the corpus spongiosum, which also will get big, so then it allows us the urethra to open, for example. Okay? Alrighty. Then The other thing with the male reproductive system is that, of course, you should know that the gland of the penis would be, oh, this, by the way, this is known as the penis. The glands of the penis is this area right here. It has a lot of nerve endings, so it's very, yes, it's a very sensitive area. It's equivalent to the female clitoris. I'm going to show you later. But usually there's a foreskin that is go over this, and sometimes this thing can get retracted, right? And sometimes you can cut the foreskin for cleanliness reason or for religious reason. That procedure is known as circumcision. Now, if you really, really love your wife or your girlfriend, you can say, "Oh, honey, you know, you don't have to take those pills anymore." Yes. So what you do is that you go through this procedure where we make an incision and you go in there, clip on the ductus deferens, right, or vas deferens. Then now you basically blocks the sperm from going out, right? So he's, you can say shooting blank, if you will, okay? And what is the procedure called? Okay, vasectomy, very nice. All right, why don't you study the male reproductive system?